Hi everyone. So I am in my Airbnb and I'm going to attempt to make Turkish coffee for the first time. I've never made Turkish coffee before. I've watched friends do it. I've had a little bit of advice from some of my students. So I'm going to give it a go and see how it turns out. This is completely new. I promise you, I have never attempted to do this before. So let's give it a go. So this is what I have assembled to make the Turkish coffee this morning. So we've got traditional Turkish coffee that I bought, a Turkish coffee pot called a cezve, and I bought this at the Egyptian market the other day. And we've got some sugar, and we've got two different types of Turkish coffee cups. Where I'm staying, she has two different types, and I kind of like both of them. So the first thing that we need to do before we make Turkish coffee is to measure the amount of water that we will need to make a cup of coffee. Now, I'm going to make 1 cup for myself, and I'm going to choose this one. So we have to pour the water into the cup to measure exactly how much water we need for the cup of coffee. And then we pour it directly into the cezve. This cezve, I would think, makes only 1 cup of coffee. Someone told me it would make 3, but we also need the coffee to boil a little bit and create some foam, which apparently is one of the secrets and tips to a good Turkish coffee. So I'm just going to make 1 right now. I've opened up the Turkish coffee, and apparently you put 1 heaped teaspoon of Turkish coffee in for each cup, which to me as a Westerner seems a lot. And then you put 1 teaspoon of sugar, which also seems like a lot, for each person. There are different amounts of sugar that people will put into a Turkish coffee. Your diehard Turkish people, potentially, or Turkish coffee fans, usually put no sugar in. But I cannot drink bitter coffee. I wasn't raised on it. It's not in my palate. So I put 1 teaspoon of sugar in because I like it just to have a little bit of sweetness when I drink it. Let's see how we go from here. So there is some debate with a few people that I have spoken to about whether you stir the coffee before or after you put it on the heat. And I've had a tip that stirring the coffee with the sugar before you put it on the heat is the better way to go, and that you should not be stirring it once it starts heating up. Now I'm going to move the coffee over to the stove and light it up. Now, the secret apparently is medium heat. Low to medium heat. So this is a very small cezve. So I am going to put it there and hope that this heat is not too high. So let's see how we go. Oh, we've got some really nice foam starting. And what I will be doing the moment that the foam comes up is quickly whipping it off the heat and spooning the foam into the bottom of the cup, because apparently that is the best way to bring out the flavor of the coffee. This cezve that I bought is actually reinforced. It's quite heavy and quite thick, so I think that's probably a good thing when you're making Turkish coffee. And there it is. I may have allowed it to boil a little bit too long, but it is my first attempt. Okay, so we've got some of the foam in the coffee cup. Now, let's put it back on just for a very short while. So this is the lowest heat I was able to get on this particular stove. So hopefully it's going to be okay for making this coffee. Okay, I'm an amateur at this, so I really don't want to ruin it too much, so I may be taking it off early, but I'm going to take it off now. And see how we go. You don't stir the coffee after it's made, so let's taste this bad boy and see what it's like. Cheers. Oh, that is good. That's not bad for a first attempt at Turkish coffee. A little bit too sweet for me. So now I know I need to put a little bit less sugar in, but I did follow a lot of the guidance I was given. But it's definitely not a bad first attempt, and it is delicious. A last detail, you will be left with a lot of coffee grounds at the bottom. And if you know what you're doing, you can flip that coffee cup over and read the coffee grinds the same way people read tea leaves. I don't have that skill, so this is where it will stay. Thanks for watching.